Okay. Okay. Am I back?
Oh, hello. Yes, you are.
Is it screen sharing? It doesn't show me screen sharing. Oh yes, it does. It
Yeah.
shows me. Okay. So this is about to go live. We don't have to do the parallelism thing, I don't think. I'm pretty sure I didn't have to do that. Skip ballot. I'm just going to put what I did. Go releaser. Where did it go? Oh, I think this is the terminal I was running that in. Go releaser. So I got Go releaser to build Zig releases without using Go. So
Okay.
somebody had a tutorial that they copied from Rust, and the person who copied it from Rust, wasn't necessarily a Go developer. So, and yeah, so there's a couple things that, well, one, no longer work anymore, and two, um, were non-optimal and made it require Go. Because it turns out, instead of having the Go binary installed, you can just change the builder program from Go to Go dummy, which does nothing but exit one. So with that, oh whoops. Hopefully I ran this with the right one. Actually, I'm gonna be so upset if it. Okay, good. It's right. It's doing the right thing. Cool. Confirmed. It's doing the right thing. Oh, whoops. Whatever. Get switch dash C. Fix go releaser. All right, and then I will be ready. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Oh, let me fork this real quick. Where did that go? Zig releaser. Nope, that's not the one I want. So is there another solution for this already in the community? Because it seems like it's kind of weird that this doesn't have very many stars. And yeah, I'm
I, d-
wondering if
I don't think
maybe.
anyone in the community's ever heard of Go Releaser or anything like that. We just use CI with GitHub Actions or whatever, and that works. Yeah.
So, okay, so is there like a good template for that then?
Not really. You just have to copy it from a repo, I guess. Yeah.
Well, but what repo?
Well, I don't know. There are a lot of different options for what you're looking for. I mean, they're all unique depending on our different use cases, I guess. Like Zig publishes to the website, ZLS publishes to our S3 bucket somewhere. Depends on the scale of it, I guess.
Okay. Add upstream. No. Add rename origin upstream. Get remote. Add origin. Go get push. This only supported ZSH before. Declare -a. Associative arrays before. Was out of date for current Go releaser. No, all right. Updated. Supports all shells, not just ZSH associative arrays. No need for Go to be installed. Okay, so yeah, this is like one of my hard requirements, is that there needs to be a way to very easily release something to, Windows and Rust or whatever quickly without, well, yeah, just like having it be an automated process. And I'm happy to do that with the GitHub Actions. I found GitHub Actions to be, well, often overly complicated, because I guess people are uncomfortable with shell scripting, and so they get really, really creative and fancy. And I often find it very difficult to parse them, because much like Docker files, like the person before doesn't understand what the other person before did. So rather than just taking their thing and copying it, they like build around it and then like hack around it. So if there is a good example, like if you know of a project that do you have a project that uses GitHub Actions? It's like a simple, single binary project or something that could be used as a template.
I mean, ZLS is single binary, but it does some uploading logic and stuff that is required for auto updating in editors. So I think it's a little complicated. I don't know.
Does uploading stuff, say that again? It does uploading stuff for what?
No, it uploads to like a bucket, but you can copy most of the action. It's pretty standard. It's just like like an array, like a associative array, like a declare A of all the platforms we want, and we just target that, produce binaries, release them to GitHub Actions.
Okay, what, the only shell I know of that supports declare A is ZSH.
I think Bash does it too, or something. Because we use it. I'm being serious. You can look at the code right now for ZLS, the CI. We use that, and we just loop through the platforms. Works fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, because this person also had that. Well, it was a capital A, and capital A is associative array, and that is not supported anywhere except for ZSH, as far as I can tell.
Just to declare a normal array. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I don't do that sort of thing. POSIX all the way. POSIX or bust. Because it just like trying to, yeah, shell scripts can be really complicated, and at that point, it's like just script it with a scripting language rather than trying to figure out all the nuance and how to get it to, so it works on Mac and it works on Linux and it works on Windows. It can be troublesome. Okay. Sorry for the wait here. So I will, I have something in my paste buffer. What was that? Oh, I was going to link in the channel again.
Oh, I sent it already.
Okay, cool. All right. Well then, I think that the chat's up. I see some people joining in. Hello. And can you adjust ever so slightly your cutoff at the chin? Yes, I mean, obviously, whatever's best for you to work first.
But there we go. Okay, I think it's good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, there's this thing called Zig Releaser, and it just uses Go Releaser, and you can just get rid of Well, you just basically you skip the Go build, name the things the way that the Go thing expects it to be, and then upload to GitHub releases. So, question: why do you prefer S3 over GitHub releases?
I have way more control. I can upload binaries. I can upload a lot of binaries really quickly. And I think is the GitHub API will rate limit you. This will not. For me, I just serve a static JSON file and that's it. And I can fetch that a million times, whatever, locally or whatever. It's fine. I guess Git releases is fine. GitHub releases is fine, I guess. But I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I love having ownership over a thing, so I don't want to be in a position where I feel like I've outsourced it in a way that I'm now stuck.
Mhm.
Um, but oops, I feel like there's the GitHub releases API is not very proprietary, so to speak, because it's been cloned so many times. It's the de facto API. So, I could be wrong about this. I believe that GitLab uses it, Git uses it. I don't know what Bitbucket uses, but it seems like it's easy to implement, and it's like you just get access to so many things versus doing a custom implementation. There's just so many tools that then are opened up that can just consume it and use it.
Sure. I've never run into a problem self-hosting though, so just went with it.
Cool. Yeah. Hold on. I am probably going to have to. I haven't seen my wife yet because we missed each other. While I was, she had already left when I went out for lunch, and anyway, I will have to communicate with her that I am not going to be available for. Probably not going to be available for dinner because I already ate and that. So that may come up again in like 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I just sent her a quick message. Okay, so all right, let me get off of that and get off of this 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 and off of this and off of this. Off of this. That one, then we might come back to. Okay, so we had some documentation up here. I probably don't need that right now. And then I was going to, let me just go ahead and get out of that and bring this back over into the screen here. Okay, and then it looks like I'll be able to copy what I did over there into here and then do the GitHub releases. So that'll be cool if we can just get to the point where, say, we just read this out. I guess now we're at the point of doing some text manipulation. Let me double check. I did create a pull request for this. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that in. So gits rebase. Oh, whoops. What do I have? Ignore. Ah. And then I had one other branch in here. Beat, read, byte. Whoops. That doesn't make sense. Okay, we're going to forget about that. And then hopefully this is where we left off.
Looks like it, yeah.
So let me do zig build run there. That fails. But if I do the echo, then this should succeed. And if we create an env secret equals foo, then I expect S to come up, unless I'm on Windows, in which case the bomb will come up instead. Have you faced that one yet?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Windows has this thing called the byte order
Oh,
marker.
sorry, the bomb BOM. No, I know what the bomb is. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. I still don't quite understand. I mean, I get that it's a byte order marker that goes at the front of a text file. I don't understand why they do it because I've never encountered any other system that does it, and I don't know what value it brings because UTF-8 by the way it's structured, is designed in
It
such a
can't
way
be. Yeah.
that it's already it already
It's for
knows which order the
UTF-16
bytes are.
maybe, I think.
Uh, uh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
okay. All right. So let's see here. Goals. We can read a file. So I'm going to check that one off. And then we need to be able to read more of the file. So the next piece was to buffer this, right?
Yes, super easy to do. You would literally just do const reader equals file.reader, but you would wrap it by doing std.io.fixed buffer stream. That's it.
Is this a
It's a
function?
it's a function, yeah. And just
Okay.
do that directly in the const reader assignment, because you never want to read it directly from the file anyways.
So am I doing like this?
Exactly. Yep. Dot reader. Careful.
Dot reader. Okay.
No,
And then
well, no.
do
Dot reader
I
as in dot file dot reader as well. Both.
Oh, okay. So wait, this has two dot readers?
Well, yeah, because you have to wrap the reader in another reader.
Okay. And there's no option to specify how large the buffer should be?
Wait, I am so sorry. This is not right. I am so sorry. What I meant to say is the fixed buffer stream is not right. I meant to say buffered reader. It's buffered reader, not fixed buffer stream. Yeah, you can specify the size, but the default size is tested and tried, and it's recommended. It's 4096. Generally good. But yeah, sorry, it's a buffered reader, not a fixed buffered reader. Sorry.
4K seems a little small.
It's large enough.
That's a single block.
Yeah.
That's I mean, in this situation, we're definitely not going to notice a difference, but I would think that we would want to buffer more than a. I guess it won't matter because the operating system's going to put it in cache anyway.
Yeah. Careful again, it's buffered reader, not fixed buffered reader. But yeah.
Okay, buffered reader. All right. Center.io.buffered reader. Okay, but how would I specify the size?
You would do buffered reader capital case, with the size. Sorry, it's a type function. You have to call the type function to create the type.
Okay.
So you would do type function. You would do the size you want, like I don't know, 2,000 or something. I don't know, 20,000. And then you would, yeah, that's the default anyways. And then you would
I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, and you do the type of the reader. So you would do at type of capital T. Anything the type is capitalized, specific case, including built-ins. Always capitalized as well.
Okay. All right.
And you would do type of, and then you do type of file.reader.
So,
Type of
file.reader.
Yeah.
Like this, or
yes. Reader is called. Actually, you can just do st. Well, let's leave it like this. I'll explain why we're doing this like this. Type of is a bolt-in. Careful, it's a function, not an operator. Bolt-ins are always functions.
Okay.
And then you would init that. So it'd be a. Let me check this code out real quick. And then you would do open struct after the buffered reader function call. This is the buffered reader type function. So you would open the struct after that.
In the type of call?
No. It after the buffered reader at the end, afterwards, before the dot reader at the end.
Before the dot reader at the end.
Line 71.
Line 71. Okay.
Yes. You do it in an init struct before the dot reader because you're creating a type with a type function. Then you have to initialize the type.
So
no. Like you have to. Okay. Buffered reader is a type here.
Yeah, buffered reader is a type.
So you can't use a type at runtime. That's illegal. You have to initialize it it's a struct. So you have to initialize it on 71.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood. Now I get it.
And reader comes afterwards because you can't initialize. You can't do that.
Right. Okay. This makes sense now. All right, got it.
And here I believe it's called unbuffered underscore reader. The thing you want in there. It's a field.
So
you want to do the field. It's called unbuffered reader.
No.
So the function dot reader will return the reader interface, but you want the reader to be. You want the struct contains the field dot unbuffered reader equals. Yes. But this is why ZLS is useful, because it will tell you this kind of stuff. And then you can copy the file .reader into there. So that's what you would do.
Okay, so, but this looks like it would return the reader twice. I guess that's not a problem, because this time...
But it wouldn't. All this means
it's
is
doing
you're
type
creating
of.
yeah.
Okay. All right, and then...
What is going on there? What are we missing here? Oh, I know what we're missing. Oh, that's not legal because it's a direct call. Just, yeah, like that, exactly. You have to wrap it. No. This is questionable. I think it should work, though. Yeah, in theory.
Okay. And then
So if you run that,
byte, it's gonna...
same interface.
Okay.
Oh, it's a const qualifier. So you do have to store it externally.
Okay.
So you have to do, yeah.
So I would do buffered reader. So
Yes.
this is my buffered reader.
Snake case, careful.
So snake case, even though it's a type.
You're not storing the type, you're storing the value. It doesn't care if the type is constant, it cares about the value being constant. So buffered underscore reader would be the value, not the type.
Hold on. So let me create the type first. So I'm going to create the type here.
Then okay, if it's a type, then you capitalize it. You Pascal case it.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I'll just call this my buffered reader because no reason. My buffered reader.
That's still illegal because it's direct access to a constant, which is not legal behavior here.
So it's direct access to a constant.
Well, that's not, I call it that colloquially. What's going on here is it expects a variable and not a constant. When you do something like this in Zig and you use a temporary, it is considered to be a constant. For it to not be a temporary, you have to put it in a variable. You have to put the my reader in a variable. My buffered reader in a variable. That instance.
Okay, so my buffered reader needs to be assigned again?
Yes. Well, one's a type, one's a value. They're two different things. I would do it in one go. In fact, I wouldn't even do this. I would just use the default. But I would do it in one go typically. But here you can just store it in a variable. This time it's going to be var my underscore buffered underscore reader, which is the actual value. And that would store the init itself, like the actual struct init of my buffered reader.
So then my buffered reader like this.
With the unbuffered reader init, because it needs the struct and you have to initialize.
Okay. I am so confused, but I am...
So look, you're creating a type. You're creating a struct called my buffered reader, all Pascal case. You're then initializing it into a struct value into the my buffered reader variable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, you have an extra close paren. Careful.
Okay, so that makes sense. So then, oh, okay. So the problem...
Sure. And I would also remove the extra paren you have up there, line 67.
Let me find... Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so this is creating the type, and this is using the type, and then this is the accessor. So I think what you were saying... Let me see if my suspicion is correct. So we could do this.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
This... You would need the parentheses around the first part, though. Oh, never mind. No, you're fine. This is good. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Now I understand. So the only problem was that putting the parentheses around was not enough because that didn't give it something to separate between the comp time bit and the build time bit.
It's not really that. It's just that you have to store a variable if it's a variable. If you don't store it, it's temporary. It is a constant always. That is a rule in Zig, because otherwise you can do footgun stuff that's dangerous.
Okay. All right. Okay, so then I've got my reader. And then I can read the character and I'm all good. So
Yeah,
let's
I think
give
that
it
works.
a shot. All right, that's exactly what I expect. And then let's try the echo one as well.
That's it.
And then I'm going to try this one too and see what that does. Okay, so that still works, which is what I would expect. Okay, so all of this seems to be working well. The one thing that we don't have implemented is that right there, but that's okay. We can leave that in. I think I can figure that out later anyway from what we've already done. Okay, cool. So now we've got the buffered reader, and then the next step is going to be a parser, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, you can write it as a tokenizer. You don't actually even need a parser, actually. Um, you don't need an AST. That's super complicated. You can just make a tokenizer
Oh,
and
okay. So
instant.
when I'm speaking of parser, I'm using the more loose, like for example, yeah. Okay, all right, all right. So at this point, let me see. What I would want to do is probably have parse env. I'd want to take in a reader, which is standard.io. Is it reader?
Careful. It's actually not that. The reason why is reader is a type function. You can't pass type functions around because they're comp time values. You can type pass them around, but you shouldn't.
All
So
right.
you have
So
to do any type.
in this case, ooh, I have to do an any.
Yeah, any type. It's called any type.
Could I not take this type of file reader and move it elsewhere?
You could do type of stdio buffered reader, type of file reader, um, because you know the type. But generally, the convention is readers are any types because they. Oh, I have to explain interfaces in Zig in this context. This is what we call compile time interface. Essentially, we create a new type for every new interface variant, and so there's no one type for these. Um,
Hmm.
Also careful with any type.
Hold on. It's called any type.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then so we got reader, and I would probably at this point I'd probably want to also be passing in a hash map.
Yes.
All right. So walk me through that. Now, my belief, which I imagine would extend to the Zig community as well, is that the function that allocates the memory should be the one that deallocates the memory. Therefore, we should not be creating the hash map in parse env. Rather, we should create it outside, pass it in, and then handle it so that both the allocation and deallocation is in the same scope. Is that
I agree with the second part, but the first part is not necessarily true. You have tons of different memory models in Zig that could work, but in this context, this is the right memory model indeed. Pass the map in, I think is a good model. Either
okay?
pass it in or return it from the function. Passing it in gives you more flexibility.
Well, but if I return it from the function, then I'd have to deallocate it in a different scope than where it was created.
Yes,
So
that's perfectly
that,
normal though. Yeah.
but like in general, you'd want to avoid that because you'd want to be able to see in the same scope allocation and deallocation, right? I mean, it'd be an edge case that you would want to deallocate somewhere different from where it was allocated because you don't want to have to be looking across files or across contexts in order to discover where the memory management's happening.
Not really. It's pretty common to see like a dinit function that does it all at once, like the .dinit stuff you've seen before, which is a separate location in the file, stuff like that. It depends on what you're doing. We can pass it in, but that's also normal. There's different patterns here. The
Okay.
common convention is just write a dot comment that says caller owns returned memory, and then the caller owns that memory and they must free it. So that's pretty common.
Okay. So what does that dot comment look like?
You could just say caller owns returned memory. It's just English text.
Well, is there like a particular
Oh, it's
syntax
three
or
slashes.
3 slashes?
Right.
Yeah, actually, that would be really good to know. How did what options do we have for dot comments? Are there certain meta variables or anything like that?
No.
Okay, so what did you say? The phrasing is
Caller owns return to memory.
term memory. Okay. Okay, so then let's do it. Let's do it that way, since that's a common pattern.
Well, these are both common patterns. Passing it in is also a common pattern. There's like a million different patterns you could use, but yeah, whatever is more interesting for you.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can change it later. So yeah,
Also, it's
let's.
PoFN, by the way, heads up.
Oh, right. Okay.
And you need a return type as well, which I can help you figure out. It would
Well, that's
be
going to be the hash map.
yes. And so in Zig,
So
there are like 7 different types of hash maps that you want to know about.
okay,
Um,
should we hit the
in this
docs?
context, you want, yeah, but in this context, you want a string hash map unmanaged, I think.
Unmanaged.
The difference is that it stores or doesn't store the allocator. Thing is, we have a passing allocator around anyway, so there's no need to store the allocator in here. Yeah. And so the key is a string, the value is some sort of value, which would be another string, right? Yeah.
Okay, so this is standard dot. Oh, it's just way up the top. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is a type function. So this is going to return a type, not a value, or this is returning a value.
It's
This
going
is
to return a
returning
type. You can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so then we just need to decide. So this is going to be a string. So we
Yeah.
would do const u8 on that. Is that
Const UA indeed, yes. Yeah.
okay? And then we'd call this const hash map equals, and then we could do var hash map equals
Snake case,
hash
careful.
map.
Yes.
All right.
And you need to give it an allocator. Oh, no, you don't. I'm sorry. This is totally correct.
All right. So why would I not need to give it the allocator?
Because it's unmanaged. So unmanaged means that you give it the allocator when you call insertion functions, whereas managed means you give it the allocator at the creation time, and then that carries through for every single insertion function.
Okay, so in this case, it seems like it actually would be a lot better since I have access to the allocator up here. Well, I guess it is a common pattern also to just have to pass in the allocator either way.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to have to pass in the allocator or pass in the hash map. If I was going to have to pass in the allocator in the hash map, then I might as well just pass in the hash the hash map. And my allocator was just named allocator.
I would not recommend that though, because you have to allocate the strings as well. Do you? You do indeed have to allocate the strings. So passing the allocator is a good idea because we're gonna have to use the allocator more than once.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then that makes a lot of sense to call a return domain.
Also, I love how you use the label syntax kind of the way you space the arguments out. It's interesting.
What's that?
Like you funny how you space out the arguments like the labels with like the colon right before the name with the space before it.
Well, isn't this this is how we I'm not what's different about the way that you would do it?
Oh no, I would just not put a space before. I just not put space before. I put a space after the colon, like what you were doing for the other function. Yeah.
So when when the fumpt runs, does it change that?
Yeah, it'll change it to the normal to just colon and then space.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just not familiar with that convention. So this would be standard dot. Is it allocator type? Well, what the heck happened there? What is the type of allocator?
It's mem.allocator.
Okay, standard.mem.allocator.
Yep.
Okay, I think we already used that. Allocator. All right. And then we got some comments here. Straight to jail. That's right. Illegal instruction. Factory functions that return newly allocated memory. Yes. Okay. Implementing, exploring functionalities like reading bytes from files, handling errors. Is that Blizzard's just summarizing what we're doing here?
I think so. Yeah.
Run zigfumpt. Yeah. Every time I save, it runs zigfumpt by virtue of zig.vim or vimzig, however you want to call it. All right. So what did I do wrong? Expected a return type expression. Okay, so we don't have a return type expression. So how do we do that? Can I lift this up
Not
and
legal, no. I
not legal
recommend
to
just
put it here?
copying it, and it's pretty short. Oh, this is legal. Yeah, you can do that. It's just short enough that I copied it in manually everywhere. Because you'd only use it twice, once for the return type and once for the initialization. That'd be it. Yeah.
Okay.
But that
But
also works.
this is legal or not legal?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Unused
totally legal.
function parameter. That's why it's griping because I have an unused function parameter. So
Yeah, you have to do
reader.
underscore equals to discard those, but you can use those. You're gonna use those anyways. It's fine.
Okay, but just to get it to underscore equals reader, that'll make the
Yes.
linter the
Formatter. It's Zig format.
ZLS and
Well, it's not ZLS.
font.
Careful, because if you add ZLS, it would auto fix this for you and stuff like that, and give you completions.
Well, so
I
this,
think
but
it's
this
just
is running
different.
ZLS. It's just not running it to its full capacity.
It is. I guess it is running a ZLS AST check. I'm surprised by that, but it's not running anything else though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have the full language server. It's just running it as, so there's a fixer, and the fixer probably could be better because the person who wrote zig.vim probably didn't export the fix. That would be an interesting one to get this into Ale, because if we got it into Ale, we could probably copy something else that's very similar and then put in ZLS as the fixer, and then it would actually take the output that ZLS gives, and then so essentially this has a fixer. No, we could probably do this one because whatever is running zig fumped, we could replace that with what ZLS does. What is the ZLS? what it what ZLS command gives the fixed output? Does it have a
That
command or
doesn't
is it only
exist.
through the server?
Only through LSP. There's no real. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's probably not terribly difficult to do. We could I'll shove that for later. I might ask for your help on it, but I have implemented a Hello World language server with the help of someone else who was in that space, and yeah, I could probably get ZLS hooked up based on my Hello World with Vimeo.
But ZLS definitely works in Vim. I've seen people use it in regular Vim before. I'm not sure how, but definitely configurable.
Well, so there's several different tools, but I don't use most of them. So there's You Complete Me, which I believe is a bunch of Python scripts, if I remember correctly, and then there's COC. But the thing is, when I've used those in a VPS, they are just really really slow, and so I tend to not use it. Like I like my tools to work the same in if I need to debug something that's live, I want my tools to be quick and speedy there too. So that's I the the Go plugins work really really well, but many of the other ones don't, and they use the language server directly rather than indirectly through something like COC or You Complete Me. So basically, it's just they're for legacy reasons, because language servers have only been around like the last 10 years, and these plugins have been around much longer. They used to do things in a different way, and then people just kind of adapted these plugins to language servers, and so there's a bunch of middlemen where there doesn't need to be. It could be very direct, just use the language server directly. Anyway, okay, so with this unused function parameter allocator, so I'll just do this to both. All right, and then we got the hash map, and then I'll just comment that out. Okay, cool. So now this is working. It ran the formatter, and then so interesting. So this is not the normal way. That's the normal way.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right. So now I've got the reader, I've got the allocator. In order to make the hash map, I don't have to do anything special, but then when I make a
Actually,
call to the hash map, I need to use the allocator.
there's a lot of stuff here. Yeah, that we'll have to fix. Because also you have to allocate the strings for the keys and the values, which means we'll need an array list of strings, and duping them. I recommend modifying the comment because you're going to use an arena for this. I think that would make the most sense.
Okay.
So I think we should say like caller should provide arena and DNet and after use. I don't know.
Okay. Caller should provide arena and dinit after use.
Yeah. It's the easiest way to deallocate this memory. Otherwise, you'd have to do some crazy manual deallocation. Yeah.
Okay, so why is it that having the allocator isn't good enough and we actually would provide an arena?
Well, we're still going to use the allocator parameter here. It's just that we're going to have to allocate the map keys, the map values, the map entries, and the array list buffer we're going to have to use for the names. And we could feed all those manually. We could just do arraylist.dinit for the name buffer, hashtag, we could loop through the keys and values and modify those. Thing is, if you have two entries with the same, you could free them as you go, I guess. We could do the perfect memory management method. It would just be incredibly slow for
And
deinitting.
slow to write?
No, slow to deinit. But if you want, we can do the proper way of doing this.
But in this particular case, whatever, anything goes for me because I'm learning, and obviously this program reads a text file, gets a value. Doesn't matter how we do it for this actual program.
Okay, let's make your first Zig struct, I guess. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make like so you're gonna do pub const env
Is it
equals
is it Pascal case for types?
Oh yeah, for types it's Pascal case always, yeah.
Okay.
And you would do equals struct, and then you just move your function into there.
Move my function.
Oh yeah, just open brace, close. Open curly, close curly after the parsenv function.
Oh, so this struct is going to have functions associated with. Okay.
Yes.
Just one second here while I'm just going to. Whoops. Nope. Die. Stop. Leave me alone. All right. There we go. Now it didn't like that because that is an expression, and now
You have a comma at the end. Yep.
Different. This
Semicolon.
now.
This is fine. Yeah. Unused local variables. You just have to underscore it. What you'll need to do is we'll make it a member function, and we'll move the map upwards as well as the allocator. What that means is we're actually gonna move everything up.
Okay.
So turn these into fields. So just move everything except for the reader. The reader will not be moved up, and the reason why is because you'd have to make it generic.
Right.
And we also only read once anyway, so it's not a big deal. And you also move the hash map up.
Okay. So, and then this is going to be.
And what's even cooler is that this is unmanaged, so you can make the default the empty struct, and that's it. So you can just do equals. So equals is a default field. Oh, sorry, you have to do colon. No. Sorry. Colon is for the field type, and then after that you can do a default if you want to.
Like this?
So sorry, the lag here on Jitsi is horrible. I'm not sure what's going on.
I
exactly
wonder.
Like
yeah, something might be going on.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. That's totally fine. What you can also do is just replace that second hash map with a dot, and it'll infer the type. Like that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so now you have an allocator and a hash map. I also call it just map if you want, or I don't know. Yeah, map I think is fine. Yeah, and so now
I often call it KV.
KV, yeah, sure, whatever works for you. Not a big deal. Right. And what you also want to do now is pass in the actual struct, because this is a member function, quote unquote. I think the name is bound function technically internally, or that's what it used to be at least. But that means you're going to do env colon, and parse env as the first argument. You'll do env colon pointer to env, so asterisk env.
Oh. Okay.
Yep. And that's be pointer because we're going to modify the map. This is the beginnings or something. So what we can do now real quick is if you go back to line 75, you can remove those two lines, and we can do just var env equals env, and then just do dot allocator equals allocator. The map has an empty default, which is good, so we don't have to edit the map, which is nice. Semicolon. And what you can also do now is do defer env.dinit. We're gonna add a dinit at the end. Okay.
Okay, what? Oh, now it's griping because I'm not actually using that. It's okay.
And what we will, that should be good, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, good call on renaming parse env to parse. That actually makes sense. Yeah. Another thing we'll have to do is make hash map. Instead of returning hash map, we'll return an inferred error set with hash map as the return value. Because reading and allocating memory can do both error. So you just got to do exclamation point hash map.
Okay. And then what is it griping about now? Unused. Okay. Okay.
Right. And so now you have this. So let's begin parsing, I guess. I guess something we should start by doing, really simple here, is before we begin parsing, we need to store, I want to read these names, the names of the fields and stuff and the values into an array list. So we can just do var name underscore buff and like std.arraylist unmanaged. Unmanaged,
like
sorry.
This?
Yeah, and then you have to, it's a type function, so you want a list of U8s, a list of bytes, because it's going to be like a list of characters. Just U8s, not const U8s.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you can just init it empty. Oh, sorry, U8, the value U8, not a slice of U8s, just a U8. It's like a buffer just of characters, just of bytes. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, it wants to know what the type of the elements are, and the element types are. Wait, are the element types just U8s? They're not. It's not.
Just U8s. And what we're going to do is we're going to read these, get to names, and we have to store the names somehow. So what we'll do is we'll just add the letter by letter to this thing and copy it afterwards into the hash map. That's what we'll end up doing. And so you have to use an expandable list for that, because the names could be a 1 character long, they could be 10,000 characters long. No idea.
Okay. Okay, so the reason we're doing the array list for each, so this is going to be for each name we have an array list, and the reason that we have an array list for each name is because it could be of a variable size, so we'd either have to have a fixed size and say, okay, a name cannot be longer than 1K, which I think is actually perfectly reasonable, or we have to make it dynamic.
Right. I mean, we can use a single array list because we'll dupe the names from the array list. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we reuse the same, which is nice performance-wise. And carefully, you have to initialize it, because right now you're just setting a type. You have to initialize the array list. It's unmanaged, so it's just empty. Nothing to init otherwise. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, that's cool.
Okay.
All right, so now, now 600 lines of parsing rules.
Yes. So you want to parse the export and format only, right?
So export should be optional.
Optional.
And okay. I would, for my purposes, if the name is not all caps, then something's wrong. It's just like quit, fail. So it would be, it possibly can be all lowercase export. It could possibly start with a hash, in which case we ignore everything until the end of the line. So let me just put this out in comments here. So hash, ignore all until end of line. Export would be ignore, and then
ignored, right?
Upper with underscores.
Do you want to special case these and validate these? Because that would be so much additional work. I don't think that's necessary. Like limiting the user unnecessarily with your opinion seems to be a bad idea, generally.
Yeah, but in this case, that's what I'm going to do. Because if somebody has an ENV that's not properly cased, like, that's their problem.
Right, but then
So,
they will literally not
so
be able to use
if
your
you,
software. I mean, that to
huh?
me that seems they won't be able to use your software. They'll just fork it and modify it, and that's it.
And that's fine. That's fine, right? Because the if you are going to export something into an environment, it should be all uppercase. If you do not do that, that's a mistake, right? Like, it, there's
Under POSIX, it is 100% legal behavior. It is 100% legal behavior. To me, if you're supporting the POSIX spec, but not really, that's weird to me.
well, that's what I'm going to do. So because yeah, because I there's there the so I'm not writing a complete shell parser. I'm writing an env parser, which the env
Right.
parser is historically it was variables that you export. Variables that you export are all caps. You would not export something that is lowercase.
Sure, you would not, but it's not you cannot. Very different things.
Well, we can fix the mistakes of the past. You know,
I wouldn't fix them like this because this will simply make people not use your software if their stuff uses underscore. You're going to fix the problems people who have good code and not bad code, which is a bad solution.
no,
Fixing
it's
doesn't
not
mean
because no,
fixing
no, 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 no,
selectively.
no. Because we want people who have bad code to know that they're doing something that is incorrect,
They,
and we
they
want
already
them to
know.
fix it.
They
But
already
they
know. We're not
don't.
going to
They
fix
don't because
their
if they
code for your
knew,
software.
but they're not.
Frankly,
Then they're not going to use this, which is fine. Like this. The goal here is not to support every use case in the world. The goal here is to support the standard way that things are done. That's my goal, right? If somebody wants to
but
fork it and do
reason.
something else,
There's no reason to do this though. It's literally
but there
a
is a reason because
capital.
it's a mistake, right? Like when I use a tool, I want it to catch my typos. I want it to say, "Oh, you did this. You probably didn't mean to do that." Right? I don't want a tool that's going to look over something and say, "Oh, you might be someone who's really really weird and who like why would you if you're somebody who's got things in that way, why would you be coming to my tool in the first place?" Right? Because if you're the kind of person who intentionally uses mixed case variable names, you are not the type of like you're the type of person that edits your env files by hand. You're not the type of person who wants a nifty solution for the standard deployment procedures. Oh,
Oh my goodness! Just used to kick me off. Okay.
oh yeah. I've got a it says I've got a poor connection, which I don't.
Oh.
So I don't know. Anyway, so all right, moving on. So I'll read. Do we have just like a loop construct,
No, there's
or
no
is it?
reason to have one. Just do wild true, and then it'll optimize the same
Oh,
way. Yeah.
okay, all true. Well, see, that's what we say in Go about loop and while and all of it. You know, we just have for, which I love, but I understand people like while. All right, so we're
Well,
gonna
in
read
Zig,
this in.
four is not at all while. Like it's a different world in Zig. Four is not even. You've never seen it as a Zig four. It's a multi-object capture thing. I'll show it to you one day, I guess. Maybe this you'll see it in here, but yeah,
Oh, because it's key and value, or
it's
is
like you have five places with length 32. You can do for a comma b comma c comma d comma e and loop through those slices at the same time, and that is incredibly useful for like data-oriented design stuff, which is like data system design stuff. It's super interesting.
oh oh. So if I was doing interlaced audio, if I was doing 7-channel audio,
Mhm.
I could get all 7 channels.
Yeah.
That is nice. I had never thought about having that as a language construct, but that is nice. I like that. Is there also an iterator that will do the same thing, or only four does that?
Only four. You can do it with an iterator if you want to, but yeah, four is like the built-in way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. That's really, really neat. I like that. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to call something on name buff. Let me go ahead and I just want to I like to get familiar with the documentation. I so
Thing is, very few people actually use. This is called Autodoc. Very few people use it frankly. But yeah, I
Well,
mean, maybe it's going to get more popular over time.
so are you saying that the primary way people learn Zig is through ZLS, or is
Absolutely,
there
there's no doubt in
something
my
else?
mind. Absolutely, yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Because
Interesting.
for a while, it sort of didn't exist. It's a new thing. Maybe it'll catch on more over time, but not sure. We'll see.
All right, so we're going to do an add. Probably we're going to do an add mini would be my guess.
Careful, because you probably want to do append here.
Well, okay. Append.
Yes. Add will allocate the memory, but it won't actually add anything to the list.
Say that again. It will allocate the memory, but it won't.
So an array list has 3 elements. It has a pointer, a length, and a capacity. Generally, in Zig,
Yeah.
the pointer and the length are one thing, and the capacity is another thing. Append will modify the pointer value and the length, and the capacity if necessary, whereas add will only modify the capacity. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so this type, the array list unmanaged, the name buff, this is a container that has the pointer in it, and the pointer will be modified as needed by append.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
But what's cool about Zig is it's not opaque at all. We can read the code right now, and it'll be super clear. If you click on the source thing on the side there, it is incredibly clear. Yeah, you'll see. So you see it does add one, because it'll add one memory if necessary. It won't use a memory if necessary. And then yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Let me go back. Oh no, I was on this page. Okay, and then comments real quick. Somebody Blizzard put in, it looks like the correct
It's not correct though. Honestly,
or
it looks like ChatGPT wrote this.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is you would never see this convention. Right? Let me just, like, I didn't actually see a message; it disappeared. But the naming and stuff was really weird. I've never seen that in Zig before.
Well, he said instead of setting default values for fields in the struct definition, it's more idiomatic to provide a default function.
That's not true. It depends, but in this context, it's not true. No.
Blizzard, not blessed.
The reason you would do init is if you have extra logic in your struct you want to do. Like if you're performing some calculation in the init function, for example, that could be useful, right? But here we're literally just passing an allocator, and there's no reason to have a special init function.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we got name buff append, and we're just going to append C here, and then this can fail, so we have to try, right? Is that? Oh, and we have to pass in the allocator as well. And
Exactly.
then that's
Yes.
going to be env.allocator. It's going to take me a
You're
while.
learning super fast. Exactly. Yeah. Allocator has an A. Careful.
What?
It's allocator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take me a while to get the muscle memory up.
It's a weird word. Yeah.
And let's see. So now we don't need that anymore.
And you probably want to state enum, by the way, so you know where you are in the tokenization process, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So enums in Zig are super nice. You can just create an enum wherever you want. Maybe in env, so you can do env.state externally, but yeah, internally it would just be state. So you can just do pubconst state equals enum and just put stuff in there, like different tags. And enums are also typed, so they'd be a Pascal case. Yep.
Oh, these should be okay. So a state that I'm going to have is going to be comment.
Oh, sorry, I meant the state name is Pascal case, but the enum values are actually just snake case. Like 9086 state is Pascal case because it's a type.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And these are snake case by convention. Yeah.
Okay, and it would just be like this. So is comment, is export, is var, is single quote, is double quote, and then inside of that we would have
an escape sequence, I guess.
Let's see. Well, an escape sequence
I would do a few things, by the way. You would
I
need a
would,
comment state. Well, I'll let you think about it a little bit.
well, what I was going to say is, rather than have an escape state, I would just read ahead. Oh,
Yeah.
we don't
And
have.
comment, you do the same thing.
Do we have an unread?
With this, you can do a file seam streak. I would never use seek though. It is incredibly inefficient if you can avoid it.
Okay,
And it would also mess
speak
up the
slower.
buffered reader.
What was
Sorry.
the first couple words?
You can use seek on a file system reader,
Seek.
but I would absolutely advise against it because it would mess up your buffered reader and it would also be super inefficient. In a
Okay.
parser, you should never be using, generally.
Okay, so yeah, so it would be better to figure out if we're in an escape sequence then.
I would do two things. You're always in a escape sequence if we have a backslash. That's an intuitive way to find out, right? It's in a backslash, so you can just find it.
Well,
and go ahead.
so if you are in a double quote and there's a
Yeah.
backslash, then the next character is an escape.
Right.
So I think this is a good place to start.
Yes. Also, you don't need a comment state. Once you find a comment, you loop through until you get to the backslash n or backslash r, and that's it. Yeah. And I would also add a start state. When you're not in anything, you're in a start state, and that's the only place where comments are acceptable. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to try to append. So we're going to check this. I'm going to do this poorly at first.
Sure.
And then
I would start by renaming C, by the way, just heads up, because you're going to use that value a lot all over the place. Just call it byte or something. Just const byte.
Why not call it C? C for char. That's
You could call it C character as well, whatever.
So because it's not, I mean, if it is an arbitrary byte. Oh, this is actually another question. So UTF-8, is there a UTF-8 reader?
There's Unicode reading. You don't need it though in this context. There's no case where there would be a different behavior for Unicode in this context, as far as I'm aware, because you would just skip over it. And there's such thing as Unicode overlap for car sets, so it would never happen. So you wouldn't handle it here.
With UTF-8, as long as it's UTF-8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's if beyond that, it would be problematic. But UTF-8 is fine. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's acceptable. And I can't get behind the upper snake thing, but I can get behind UTF-8 for sure. Yeah.
But what if there's someone who's hex editing their file and mixing UTF-8 and UTF-16? Shouldn't we allow their use case? All right. Okay, so I'm in I guess this starts at 0, so the default state would be, and we also then need to, all right, so this is something that goes inside of here, and so then we would want state equals start.
You don't have to put it there, because the thing is we're only parsing once, right? So just put the state in the parse function.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. All right, so state equals state. No, state.
So you do state.start. Yeah.
Work. Hold on. It's a type of enum. Okay, so I do state and then I do dot start.
Yeah.
Like this. Okay.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
All right. So
another thing you can do, by the way, is you could do state : state equals dot start. They're equivalent.
I like that better.
Okay. Yeah. That'll infer the type from the variable type. Yep.
All right, and then it. Okay.
It's time for a big switch statement here.
And then this one we have, let's see, switch on state first.
Yep.
And then switch on char once we get in there.
We'll do that later, I guess. Yeah, because there's a lot of states we'll have to handle.
So state.start.
By the way, you can keep using inference. By the way, we know what the state type is state, so it compile can infer it for you, which is nice.
Okay. So because it knows this, so we can say dot start, and then in that case, we'd want to look at char.
So here you can just do a switch again, as you were saying earlier. Yeah.
Does
it's
this
single quotes
will this work?
characters.
Oh,
It's
single
quotes
quotes
because
it's oh right. That's why it'll be able to compare because it's a byte. Okay. So in this case, start state, there are a few acceptable values in the start state, which are that it can be a string, in which case we do nothing. Do we have a no op?
Just do nothing, and
Empty
it'll keep looping
brackets?
through the while true. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We can also have a comment, in which case we will just loop until
A new line. Yeah.
we'll just try. No, we do need to.
I can show you a great like piece of code for this.
Okay, yeah.
You would
share
just
with me.
do while and then put. Okay, this is a cool demo of expressions in while.
You used the C word.
Yes, but this is actually like readable as well. So
Okay.
in my opinion, at least. So you would do while open BLK and put the block in there.
Okay, while BLK
Yeah.
like this.
And then make a block in the while, inside the while loop, like condition.
Give me a second while I try to remember which way the label goes. Is the colon on the right on this one?
Yes, I mean it might make sense. You're preceding the block with the it's like an argument, but it's a block instead, right? In that regard. And all you do here is you just do a switch statement. You would just do switch next on the byte, and if it's a \n or a \r, you stop.
Wait, would I do this or no?
Yeah, that works totally. And so if it's a \n or \r, because if you want to also handle Windows new lines, stuff like that, you could just return true. In fact, you actually don't even need the block. You could just directly return in the switch, which is nice.
Okay, so you're saying here return true.
By return, sorry, I meant break. But you could directly break without a block. You don't even need a block here. I think it's even more intuitive without a block. But you do whatever. And also you can use a comma to do \n comma \r to dual case it. Yeah, it's really useful. And you would just do switch directly, no block around the switch. Yeah. You would need the while though. You would need the while because I meant no block in the while condition around the switch. That's what I meant. Sorry. And you wouldn't even need a break because you're just returning a value from the switch. No block allowed around the true though.
Oh, okay, because it returns a value. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
exactly.
So if it's a comment. Oh, okay. So we don't need anything else because we're gonna read until it's a /r/n.
Also, you do want to remove the first curly there.
This one?
On 113, yeah.
113.
And then just add and then just add an else case as well, and just do else false. And you do need that second one though because it closes the switch case.
It closes that one. Okay, and then else false.
Careful, the else is in the switch case. And also just a case and a switch case.
Oh, right. Oh, right. I remember that now.
Yeah. Just else
Okay.
arrow false. And then it's a while, so you do have to add a block to the while, just like an empty block. Yeah, that's not bad, right? I think it's good.
Okay, this looks a little weird to me.
It just means you're looping while it's not in the new line. Yeah.
Why would I not do while true and
That
then
also works.
put this in the block like that? Is this
In fact, that
different?
also works. And in fact, it's the same thing. But in fact, I would recommend this because later, you're right, actually. Later on, we will have to handle read byte because read byte will error if you get to the end of the file. So we'll have to catch that and return if it's a valid ending. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that later, though. Yeah.
Okay. So while it's in the start state,
Skip.
basically spaces are allowed, tabs are allowed.
Yep.
But then once it's reached a new line of either type, I guess I should do, wait, carriage return new line /r/n. I just for the sake of following that. All right, so we can do, that's, probably should add in zero width space and
Whatever.
non-printing banana.
Those are actually like never. I don't think anything supports those, frankly. Yeah.
Oh, man, they've bitten me before. I was writing a PDF tool one time and there was non-breaking. It's like non-breaking, non-printing spaces were the thing that caused my program to crash.
NBSPs, whatever. Right? Yeah. Seen those.
Yeah, but I think it was a combination of both. Because this is what it was. So in Ruby, I think it was 1.9. So we're talking, 15 years ago. The regex wasn't Unicode safe. And so white space did not include the non-breaking space or the non-printing space.
Oh my, okay.
So yeah, I was trying to match on some values from a PDF and it went haywire. Anyway, okay. So we ignore all of this. We ignore all of that. Now, if we get to an E.
Careful. This is something you have to be careful about. There's no guarantee. So what I would do is if you get to any other character, it's a name. And it's an export once you get the entire word export. That's what I would do.
Well, but see, here's the thing, is that I, in my implementation, am going to be sane rather than flexible. And so I am going to read out let's see. So we read this character. I wonder what the simplest way to do this would be.
Let me see. I have something for you, I think.
Standard mem.eql, was that what it was? Where's my EQL?
You could use read bytes no EOF. So what I would do is
reader.read bytes no EOF.
Yes.
And then I can pass in export.
Well, you pass in a length so you pass in length of export -1, I guess, right? So 5 and a space, so 6.
Well, I've already read E.
Right.
So
yeah, you pass in
6,
6.
so 5.
Well, no,
You
because
said
1,
length
2,
minus
3,
1?
4, 5, 6, because you have the space as well, right?
Yes, but you said, well, you had said -1. You said
Right.
length -1.
Well,
But this
it's
would just
-1
be
because we
length.
don't have the E, right? But other than that, no, it's just the.
Oh, right. Okay, got
Right.
you. That's why the -1. Okay, so yeah, so this is 6.
Yes, and you would check that it's indeed equal to export space, and then if it's not, return like error.invalid or something. I don't know. And I personally would do the comparison directly, like just put an if directly there.
Okay, so you're gonna say if standard.mem.equal, and then we're going to do port space,
You're missing an X, but yes.
and then this would be U8
Mhm.
to this.
I would do not equal, and then return an error if it's not equal. Otherwise, do nothing because it's a no op, right?
Right.
Um,
I'm glad you're a fan of early returns. Okay, so if not equal to export, then we are going to, this is going to be an error.
Yeah.
How are we going to handle this type of error? Because we need to be able to pass back not just standard error types, but a parse error type. So how should we go about making our own error for this and passing it back?
What we could do is you don't actually have to return a hash map anymore because the hash map is now in the env struct, right? So personally, this is a little overkill. You could just return like an error log and print it out.
Okay.
You just do void then, return void. I think that's the easiest technique here. And if we need to, we can expand it later. But for now, just let's keep it simple. Yeah.
Return void.
Yeah, with an error. Yeah.
Okay, so then so we could do return error dot failed like this.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, and then for right now, I'll just put this out. It was standard log error. So envs must begin with export or all caps. And it would be nice to tell them what we tried to read, but
I'm not sure if that'd be useful. Like this heuristic is a little confusing regardless. I think just telling them that is enough. And if there's a problem, they can also just find the code. Also, it should be ERR, careful.
oh, right.
And you're also missing a semicolon, line 1 2022.
Right. Okay.
There
So
you go.
that's, now this is still griping about some, because now this, why isn't it like that? Comma after initializer.
That's normal. I'm not sure what's going on here. You closed that.
I might need to make the screen smaller and make it.
Yeah, you can make it smaller. I can see it perfectly fine. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Do you have any open extra braces? That could be it.
This one closes. This one closes. This one looks like it's aligned right.
Yeah.
Okay. This one. Do we need the else here?
Oh, you do need an else, but it's not like it's gonna break. Oh, I see. I see. Is that an underscore I see right there? No, I'm just okay. Never mind. That looks fine to me. I can't see the problem here.
Expected statement. It says
Should
it's
still be it.
expecting a statement. So it's probably unbalanced. Yeah, it's unbalanced
Oh,
close parentheses.
that's okay. Yep. Oh, because we have a reader. I forgot we had reader.bytes new off in there. That makes sense. That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I just prefer to have basically
Sure.
one
Also, it would be a
operation per
constant
line.
then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I got to put the semicolon.
Yep. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. And then I'd also, let's see, the way that this logger works, does it require, can I lift up this error message and then if it contains a template value, it will still work?
Yes. What do you mean by lift up?
So for example, let's see, or all caps, not, and then I'm going to say string here, and then this is going to have
Cars, yeah.
chars. Can I do? Probably not. I can't do. I can't do string addition here. Could I? Is there a
No.
way?
Just put it in the
But I
format
could do
of string,
this.
yeah.
But I could do
Yeah.
this, and then I could give it the string e.
But just put E directly in. Why do that when you can just put E directly in?
Oh, duh. Well, I know actually in this. No, I do. Well, because the way that I was going to lift it up, I would rather. Well, I'll show you first.
Okay.
So let's say I don't know what the convention would be here, but I would call this E all caps. And then
Sure.
I'd go up here and I'd say const E all caps equals this, and then E all caps.
That's
Yeah.
totally allowed.
Okay.
The thing is, it's not a macro or it's not compiler magic. This is a completely user space. So you're passing in a comp time string. If it's a string, it's a string period. That's it, which is super nice, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's just one of those things I'm going to have to get used to, kind of like, the borrow checker in Rust, which I did not get used to. All right.
Convention-wise, though, what I would just do is make a struct called error messages, and then do error messages dot all caps, and yeah.
Make a struct called error messages.
Yes, because in Zig struct are also namespaces. Like, for example, the current file you're in is actually a struct.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Pascal case still applies here. Heads up, for the type at least.
And then we would still do lowercase here.
Yes, just snake case here. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. And then do I?
You have to do const here. It's still a declaration. It's not a field. I meant like it's not a field. It's a constant. Just const all caps equals. I mean.
Wait, sorry. Const all caps.
Yep.
This is a little confusing to me.
Sure.
So you said this is not a field?
No. Why would it need to be a field? In Zig, everything. For example, your current file you're in is a struct. You can initialize your current file as a struct if you want to. There's no reason to, because there's no field in there. But yeah, in Zig, namespaces are structs usually. But anything that can be namespace, like a union is a namespace, an enum is a namespace, etc.
Okay.
And this is just cleaner. It communicates intent better, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, I like it. No, it's good. I don't have any argument against that. But this is a little bit confusing to me because struct feels overloaded. So structs can have fields and can have types because they're namespace, and can have functions, and can have functions that receive the struct as well as functions that don't. So it can have methods and functions.
Yes.
Okay. That's not something I'm used to, but I think I understand it.
And there's a lot of power in this too. Like, one of my favorite things in Zig is super enums, I like calling them. You can use enums as barriers to prevent you from performing illegal behavior. It's super interesting stuff. We're not going to use it here, but you can do like an enum 32 and do none captures and stuff. It's a crazy cool optimization, and you can use it in data-oriented design to do some cool stuff. Yeah, stuff like that, for example.
All right, so then
I think your start is completely. Well, yeah, never mind. You have to do the else and capture those characters.
Yeah, so here I need to capture characters, so I'm going to and then here I just prefer, whoops, this would be, so we already have a char, so this would be next next equals
Careful, const. Just a convention thing. If you can use const, you should, because the compiler will optimize it better. Yeah.
See, and my opinion is that the compiler should just optimize it better.
Sure.
Like, the compiler knows whether or not I'm writing to it. But no,
that's not necessarily true, because at this level, so this is the system's language. There's no guarantee that it is necessarily constant or variable. Kind of. can move stuff
Well,
around. It could be volatile as a. I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's ways that you could write to the memory, but
because
in
if it's
general,
constant, it's guaranteed to be constant. It's illegal to modify it. If it's
right,
variable, you could modify it using volatility, stuff like that. So yeah,
right. Yeah, a lot of that stuff I'm not as familiar with, and I'm just used to typing var and not used to typing const.
that makes sense. It's a JS thing again, or
Yeah, so in JS, I'm hard against const because there are no constants. So I don't use const because you should use const to communicate intent.
Mhm.
And since in JavaScript, const doesn't actually communicate
anything.
what people would think, I don't use it because communicating the wrong thing is worse than communicating nothing. Because a
Mhm.
lot of people think that if they declare something with constant JavaScript, that it will remain constant, that it won't change.
Not
And
true.
that's, yeah, not the case at all. It's, yeah, yeah. Okay, so then here, what I need to do is,
We have name buff for this reason, by the way. Heads up.
we have name buffer. Yes, yes. I'm just thinking. Now I did use that somewhere. Did we already delete where I used it?
I
We
think so.
put that's down here, so
Yeah.
it's
Oh yeah,
not
here
doing
it is.
anything useful right now. All right. So, but what I want to see is basically the same thing here, and we're gonna check.
Well, this is not advisable. I
What's
guess
not
it is. No,
advisable?
no, this is totally fine. You can loop through it until you get into an equal. Sure, that's allowed. Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
totally fine. You're right.
what were you going to suggest?
No, no, no. You're fine because
I
no,
just
no.
want to
This
hear
is.
what your thought process was.
I was gonna say I'm creating a new state for identifiers. But this is actually totally fine. You can just do while true until you get to an equal. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, let's see, while true. And then I'm going to have next.
Careful to copy that into the wild true. By the way.
Careful to copy what? Oh yes, move this into the while true.
Yes.
Thanks.
And also careful because you have to append the current character as well, not just next. So you have to also append car
Right.
at the top. I mean, right.
So there is a trick. It's like %20 or hex 20. Yes, honey?
Hello, stranger.
What's up?
Okay, are you
Just a minute.
are you close to wrapping up?
I might be. What's up?
Well, dinner time.
Okay. When do you want to do it?
In like 10-ish minutes.
10 minutes ish?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So I think that where I'm at right now, I could take some time on this tonight and then
Okay.
go through and get to a better place to start like start actually. You've taken me so far through understanding patterns and like basically getting through all the things that would have taken me 6 hours for just one item of figuring out where I need to use a different syntax or something. So I let's wrap up this to the point where we print out the name, call that good, and then I will bang my head against it on my own for a while because I think that I may have all the knowledge that I need to do this task at this point. I mean, it's
I
like
think so.
it's just parser rules at this point. And then I'm assuming that I will probably be able to figure out the writer stuff. The arena thing we did not get to, and I might. Do you still think we would need an arena or no?
Well, the way we wrote it now, we wouldn't need an arena. We would just need to make a deinit function. And the hint for that for you is loop through the keys, deinit those. Loop through the values, deinit those. And make sure to free keys that are being replaced.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I will. Yeah. Let's take a few minutes to get this to the point where it prints stuff out to the screen, and then I will hack on
Sure.
it on my own tonight, and then I will request your feedback.
You can just do if next equals space. There's I guess you could do like a switch and check for space, /r, /n tab, stuff like that, and that's illegal. And everything else is just totally fine, I guess.
let's see, while we have this, well, really what I want to do is just see if it's, I'm just going to whitelist this. So there is the ASCII range. Let me see here. I can basically just see, is this between the range of capital A to capital Z?
Yeah.
So
By
65.
the way, in Zig, characters are bytes. There's no such thing as a character. So you can just do capital A dot dot capital Z. That works. Yeah.
So tell me what you're thinking there.
You would just do switch next,
Okay.
and create a
Switch
case.
next. And then
And the case would be capital A, capital Z, 3 dots, and these are characters, so single quotes around them.
single quotes around
Yes.
like this. Oh,
Yep.
nice. Nice. We get a range. So in that case, we're going to append.
Yep.
And then if we otherwise, we are going to fail.
Yes.
Well, and then we also have the equals.
Which will just break. Yeah.
Well, and then we need to change the state.
Semicolon. But no, you don't, because you're still in the start state, by the way. No, you're still in the start state, so you're fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if we get to the equals, we are transitioning state.
True. Yep. You can also do it. You can do it there. That's a good call. Yeah.
All right. So state equals. We are so far in this thing. Would it know how to pick that, or do I need to do state dot value? Or I don't even have value defined yet.
Yeah. If you have value in there, it will work. Yeah.
So we don't need the export.
Would need var. By the way, for var, cool thing you can do is $, quote var $. Oh, sorry, not $. Keep doing that. At quote at. Sorry, at quote quote.
Hold on just one second. Let me get back down here.
Okay.
So this, how far up and down will it go to look for the state? I imagine that now.
Well, it's not really about far up or far down. Like, it knows what the type is. That's it. It could be a million branches in. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, but there could be multiple scopes of things that have dot value. So I'm assuming that I need to do state dot value for this to work.
Well, why? Because state is known to be a type value. There's no reason. Like the variable state has the type value that is known. Period. There's no it will never change. It can never change. That is known by the compiler, guaranteed.
Well, but
so, no
the thing is, okay, so this switch right here. Oh, right. Got it. Because the state on the left is what infers it on the right.
The L value is what infers it. Yes.
Okay, got it. There we go. To do. So this one right here. And then instead of error dot failed, I guess we can break out of this.
I guess we do 2 quick things. First of all, you would probably want to reset namebuff before doing anything with it. So line 130, you want to do namebuff.items.length equals 0. That'll reset it.
Namebuff. Well, let me see. Did we use? I don't think we did use namebuff anywhere else. Okay,
well,
right.
When you do use it in the future multiple times, which you can, you will need to do that because otherwise that's going to be polluted.
Did you say like this?
In length, yes. In length in Zig is just len. Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's good. And then you have to extract the stuff from it. So what you would do now is just std.log.error namebuff.items. And that's the actual name. Info, I guess.
Standard log dot.
You do info.
Info, and then. And what was it?
Namebuff.items. Yeah.
Okay, namebuff.items.
Careful semicolon.
Mm-hmm. What problem? There we go. Good to do there. Very descriptive. And then
you wouldn't do a break. You would just do nothing. I guess you would do a break because you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want it to crash. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, let's see, it's going to switch. I want to break out of, actually, at this point, I would prefer to give this thing a label. So,
Well, you would never break out of a loop. Of a switch. That's not possible. You can do a break return, but
I'm breaking out of while.
well, yeah, you sure. Actually, that's a good call. You can give it a loop. Yeah, just call it loop, like the label. You can label a blocked, or you can label a loop. I believe.
Oops.
I would label the loop personally. I think
Okay, so you're saying label the block or label the loop. Label
Yes.
goes where?
You can
Label goes in front.
Yes, they're both actually valid. Fun fact. In Zig, they're both valid. But I would label
Okay.
the loop personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes more sense. And then unused. Yeah. Just because this thing's so long, this helps give the context. State loop. What? Break. No, break. Okay. Like that. Got it.
Yes.
All right. And then I don't need to log this anymore. And there's probably some memory errors. But let me go ahead and see if this will run.
You need an else for all of these because there's no default else.
Mm.
Are we missing an else somewhere? I'm curious. Yes, there we are. Yeah.
Switch type of bool ignored.
So we have a few things here. We have line 80 parse have a try because you're not allowed to discard errors. The type of bool ignored next. That one's a little more interesting.
Read byte. This is also read byte. So my nexts are read bytes. Args next.
Can I see real quick what the error is? Yeah. Oh, I know what the error is. I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's happening.
Okay.
See, the switch is returning a Boolean. We're just not doing anything with the Boolean. It's true and false. That doesn't mean anything. You probably want to do break or nothing.
Okay, right.
Yeah, because that was before we rewrote it. And not there. Sorry, not there. I meant in the switch statement. In the 1.16, you're returning values right out to nothing. These true and false. Those don't mean anything in this context.
Oh, right. Okay, but the purpose here was to
break out because new lines kill comments. Yeah.
Okay, so this was break, and then else was okay. Let me see about this. So we don't. Oh, else is do nothing. So else
yes,
is.
You need else. Yeah, do nothing.
Right. Okay.
And same thing downstairs as well. You have some more.
I have another else that is returning true.
Wait, do you not have another one that has the same case? No, you don't. Okay, never mind. Sorry about that. You're good to go, I think. Except cars here is going to be an array because it's fixed length, so you have to do pointer to cars. In 125.
Oh, whoops.
Yes, exactly, like that. No. With the here it's creating a pointer, so it would be %.
Okay. Q8. So mem equals is going to run until it hits the null character.
There's no null character. In Zig, the string precises, which means that they're length based.
So it will first check, are these the same length?
Yes.
And then it'll return early if they're not the same length, and then it will do the compare.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. That makes sense.
And DNet doesn't exist. Let's just make an empty DNet function for now. It's not good, but it's whatever. We can fix it later.
Okay. This is cool. So this, yeah, that makes sense. And then dinit is, oh no, would it be pub or would it just be function? It's pub because other things need to access it.
Actually, in Zig, pub means, it doesn't matter, because if you don't have pub, it's in the same file, it doesn't matter. It just means that pub just means you can access it from another file. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, we would want it to be able to be dinit from another file, and this would be, to do.
Yeah. And careful, it's a member function, quote unquote, so you would have to give n argument here. And also make it return void. There's no default return type in Zig. And dinit never returns. Never returns an error. In Zig, dinit and free can never fail, typically.
Okay. Typically. or absolutely.
Using C code,
seems-
it can fail. You have to handle it. But generally in Zig, by convention, it can fail. Yeah.
Okay, and then to do D in it.
Yeah.
Those semicolons are going to get me. I've gotten so used to having my JavaScript formatter insert, and then Go doesn't have semicolons, and JavaScript the formatter will insert the semicolons. And then
Underscore equals, yeah. Semicolon.
yeah, I've got a couple of years of not writing semicolons. Okay, and then
Secret, there it is.
info secret. Sweet. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna whip this and then oops. Read name. Cool. So it is.
Yeah, there it is. Congrats.
All right. Thank you. Thank you much.
Yeah.
I will hack on this and check back in with you a little later.
Sounds good. Have a good night. Have a good dinner.
Yeah, you the same. I mean, I don't want to tell you how to live your life. You have a bad night if you want to. I don't want to constrict you on what type of night to have, but the type of night you desire, do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Peace. I should do the thing with the Twitch. Okay. Who have we got? Strager. Strager's cool. Raiden Strager.